Well, hello there, and welcome to the weekly energy theme for this week, beginning the 24th of May 2021. And welcome. My name's Karen Turpin from KarenTurpin.com. So this week I decided to pull a few cards, which I do randomly. And they're great cards. So the first one, of course, when you think about the current time where we are on the planet, the first card is oppression. There you go. Oppression. It's all about being oppressed, being held back, being limited, being locked behind bars, being locked down, being in quarantine, being whatever words you want to put to that. But it's very, very spot on for where we find ourselves, of course, in this current timeline on the planet. And I know that, uh, you know, that's continuing to be enforced depending where you are. Sometimes these restrictions are being, pulled back a little bit now just for them to come along and put some more in place. So it's that real hickledy-pickledy kind of time on the planet for all of us. Now, the second card that came was the Achiever. And this is from the suit called the Worlds, which is all about mental. And when you look at that card, it's all about achievement. The key word is achiever. So it's all about achievement, how we want to, go beyond this, how we want maybe everything to go back to how it was, or we want to just get on with life. And it's that kind of driving, very masculine energy, but I feel a very mental energy as well, very much in the thinking mind about how can we overcome this, how can we just push through this. And we know that certain people are just giving in and taking whatever they offer by way of that thing going in there or maybe in there. And people are just accepting that now so that they can get on with their lives. And notice how I'm not saying any key words this week, because last week I got censored because I obviously said a few wrong words in what I said, hence the pointing to your arm thing. So we know that some people are taking these things just so that they can believe that their life will go back to normal if they do so. And in actual fact, we'll never go back to that normal because there was a lot wrong with that normal. We're moving into a whole different timeline, as I've been talking about for a long time. And so this third card again is so perfect. I'm loving the cards this week. Third card, Seeker. Being childlike in our investigation, actually asking questions, not just taking what it is that we're told, but to ask the questions, to, in this day and age, do our own research, on sites that are not just, the ones that come up random, mainstream kind of thing, but search for our information for different places. Now, what I particularly love about these cards, of course, we all know that we're being restricted and locked in, and we all want to, we're thinking, how can we overcome this? How can we get out of this situation? But in actual fact, in order to get out of this situation, we need to go within. We need to actually look inside, because this is a spiritual awakening. There's a mass awakening happening on the planet. So we can't find the solutions out there in the mental. We have to go inward and find, what's inside of us, because the answers are all there. So when you think of this, we're absolutely being pushed to the limit. But I like to say we're being stretched. So visualize this. We get an elastic band, we pull it to the maximum, which is division, is it not? When we're all one and all together, here we are in this kind of mass thing here in the middle. But when we're separated, divided, this is a time of bifurcation. We're being stretched out to opposites, because there are for and against every situation that we find ourselves in currently. So we're being divided more and more, further and further and further apart we're going. But at some point, there's going to be a spring back. We're going to start moving back. When you think there's the ebb and flow of the tide. The tide only goes so far back, and then it starts to come in again. And that's the next cycle begins, where it begins to pull out again. With the in breath and the out breath, we can only take in so much oxygen, air into our lungs before we breathe out again. And everything goes in cycles. So this is a cycle on the planet that we're going through. It's a long cycle, admittedly. This part, 26,500 years. There was other parts before that. So huge numbers, but here we are at this time. It's called the time of bifurcation because we're being pushed, pulled as far as we can possibly go before it starts to move back again. And so we can say this is the time of unity. When we pull back together and meet, then maybe we'll get unity. That's a long way down the road. We have a further oppression, quoting from the card, that pulling back. We have a little bit ways to go yet. We're not there yet. We're going to be pulled to the point. But when you look at what's happening, you can see more and more people are standing up and not accepting this. So we're getting closer to that point where everything has to come back in again. But as I say, this is not a mental thing. This is a spiritual shift. And so we then have to go inside and find our truth. And this is why it's so important for whatever is being suggested to you. Take this thing in your arm and wear this thing and don't go there and check in here. Whatever it is that's being suggested to you, don't take it just at face value on that mental level. Go inside, go within, feel it in your heart and say, does this feel aligned to me? Is there truth in this? What is the purpose of this? We've got to be asking these questions now. We can't just take everything that's shoved down our throats. So this card, the Seeker, encouraging you to go within, sit with yourself, find what needs to shift and change within you. Because as we begin to come out of this cycle into our more advanced timeline, then life is going to be radically different. And that's because we are being called to go within, to connect with our heart, with our truth, to connect with our identity, so that we can be all that we came here to be, so that we can actually do some of the things that we came here to do. And when we're in that mental, the rushing, busy world, we forget this internal part of us that wants to be expressed. And for me, that getting in touch with your internal part, that's abundance. This is why I love to talk about abundance, because when you are at peace inside, when you know that you are spirit in this physical body, having the human experience thing and all of that, but there's a sense of peace in that as well. And so I'm about to swear, so if you've got kids, just turn it down. But basically, if the shit really hits the fan on this planet, and there are signs that it might, unless we stand up and say no, but if the shit really hits the fan on this planet, you want to be in a position where you know in your heart that it's okay, because your consciousness lives on forever. You are spirit, you are soul. And so you will go on. And this is just a vessel, just a physical vessel for you to have this experience on this planet in this timeline. But you have had many more, and you will have others here and on other planets as well. So when we kind of find that place of peace within our heart, a place of peace and stillness, and of course you loved your family and you love your life and you don't really want to let it go yet, but at the end of the day, sometimes these things are beyond us, and so then we return to spirit because we are pure consciousness anyway. So I feel that because we're in this spiritual awakening on the planet, it doesn't mean that we have to leave this physical body in order to have that spiritual experience. And so for me, this ascension thing is all about bringing these higher aspects of yourself, that spiritual knowledge, bringing it into your body and living by those principles in this physical life, which is why, when I talk about this stretching apart, this is why the people that are becoming, self-realized, really connected to their spirit, self-realized, understanding these higher principles, when you can take that on board, you're not quite so stressed with things. The people on the other end are kind of, switched off, or whatever it is that they're doing down that end. But if you're listening to this with me, I'm kind of thinking you're one of these that are, having a spiritual experience. You're not so, numbed out that you don't really know what's going on. So here we go with this elastic band thing. We will begin to start moving back in again towards this unity thing. But it's a different unity, I think, than what many of us were expecting. And I think that when we talk about unity or coming into oneness, I think there was a degree of us, the spiritually awakening ones, of us believing that all the other ones would come around to our way of thinking. But no, it's not necessarily like that, because we got loads of timelines going here on this planet as well. And they're going to have their whole experience, and it'll be perfect for them because that's what their soul is choosing. We're going to have a whole different experience because we're choosing something else. So I think to say that it's not all set in stone, and let's not over mentalize this. Definitely let's not go into fear and lower our vibration, because when we lower our vibration, we are very, very much more susceptible to all the shitstorm that they've got going on in their agenda, with, you know, frequencies coming at us, and, the frequency of things that have been jabbed into other people's bodies is going to have frequencies that affect us if we're at that lower vibration that matches. So the key for us, the goal, is to be way above that, so that that shit storm going on down there doesn't affect us, because we're at another level of this experience. So to encourage you really to continue with your self-development work, your meditation, you're getting out in nature, you're connecting to the earth, your love and your compassion and your gratitude, and all of these beautiful high vibrational things that you and I know we can do to raise our spirit, because we still are on our spiritual journey. And it doesn't serve us to be swept away in their stuff that's going on if that's not a timeline that you choose to experience. It certainly isn't for me. So I'm focusing on my continued development. This feeling within me of being completely abundant in everything that I want to experience. In life, in love, in good health, and having good food and good experiences and good friends, and, all of that stuff. To me, that's abundance. And that is a beautiful place to live. And so that's so much, it's such a better place to be than when you're stuck in the fear of all this agenda stuff that's going on. So, as I always say, dip in, have a little look at that, because you need to know where you need to dodge the bullets, right? But otherwise, spend most of your time in peace and love and focus on what you are here to do. And just make that your target for what you have to focus on each day. So that was a little bit long. Sometimes I talk like that, as you know. So anyway, to say, here we are being suppressed, oppressed. We're thinking our way out of it when we need to go within and find our way through it from within. This connection with our heart, with spirit, with consciousness. We're going to be stretched a little bit more before we all start coming back. But hang in there. I absolutely 100% believe that this will be okay. But we have to take hold of our mind and focus it where we want to focus it. And other than that, I would say my life is not changing, uh, you know, because of their agenda, because I'm focused on what I'm here to do. And part of that, my passion, is helping other people really tune into their own sense of self, to find themselves, to find their truth, to find what they're here to do, what their soul purpose is. And all of that stuff to me brings us to this state of abundance. And that's a beautiful vibration. Then we're looking at the law of attraction. So we're giving out that beautiful vibration of love and gratitude and abundance and blessings. That's what we then draw towards us. So we're not even over here in their stuff anymore. We're just absolutely in our stuff, right? In that field of abundance. So I hope that that kind of inspires you to just get back to self again, not worry so much about that stuff. That's my reading for today, for this week, actually. Now, I just want to mention that I am doing a money mindset masterclass. It's free. That's happening very soon. I would love to have you join us there. I'm going to be talking about some of the myths around money mindset, talking a little bit more about the law of attraction, because I love that, the law of resonance as well. So don't miss that. Check out the link that I'll put somewhere or other below or in my bio. There'll be a link there. And join me for the Money Mindset class. It's free. I would love to have you there with me, and I will answer any questions that you have. And that's it, I think, for today. So stay focused on your personal development and growth, connection to source, of course, and your truth. If you have any questions, any comments, I love to hear from you. And I do read all of my DMs, so feel free to message me. Have a great week, and I'll be here and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.